The Miami Dolphins just got mollywopped by the Seattle Seahawks. Honestly, this one doesn't hurt nearly as bad as last week just because of expectations. After the first quarter, you kind of just already knew what was about to happen. Just unfortunate. First and foremost, just super sloppy, and that's the biggest disappointment of all. Is good organizations can withstand injuries and still look solid. And the Dolphins just fell apart on the offensive side of the ball. I'll get into the defense. I thought they honestly played pretty well. But offensively, an absolute mess. Skylar Thompson didn't look good. But also in his defense, I just don't think he was put in great situations. I think Mike McDaniel called a very bad game. And then on top of that, it's just mistakes compounding, which is what we've seen. The biggest kryptonite for the Dolphins. A lot of times they just beat themselves. We have an effective run and it's a holding and it's a false start. It happens every single week. It's very frustrating. It's never been fixed. So that's the biggest annoyance with it all. Good organizations can overcome some injuries and look. I'm not saying you're going to win every game. We still could have lost this game, but it just looked so bad. Tim Boyle came in after Skylar Thompson ultimately went down with the injury and looked pretty good. That's at least a little bit of a positive. But yeah, it was just all bad offensively. Like I said, Skylar didn't look good. They had a few good runs. Obviously, once again, some would get called back. But then there was just times where they should run the ball again, and they chose not to. That's the biggest question mark. Or you have a good inside run, and then they do some gimmicky pitch to the outside and gets blown up. It's just just stick to the basics. Run core concepts that at least everyone's going in the right direction. It might not work, but it gives you the best chance to have success. I tweeted in the middle of the game, I've been clamoring for this literally after we lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs. McDaniel just needs to go back to the core roots of this offense in the Shanahan scheme and just go under center, pound the football, and run those naked boots and just the core concepts of the scheme. Obviously, some of the core concepts are still very prevalent. He just dresses it up in a way that I think makes the Dolphins more prone to the holding penalties and the false starts and having to waste a timeout because you have three different motions going on. Just dumb the offense down, go to the core principles, and just let your players play. I just think it's too gimmicky, and that's what leads to some of the missteps. This game, honestly, once again, goes to show how freaking valuable Tua is to this offense, because without him, it looks awful. He is fully in charge of the offense. He knows all of his responsibilities, and it would have been it's night and day. So, I guess this is a good game to show the value of Tua, which I appreciate, but ultimately, I think it shows the lack of coaching that is shown on the offensive side of the football. So I'll leave that at that for the offense. Just poor sequencing of play calling, sloppy play, bad quarterback play from Skylar. It was basically all bad. So yeah, that's that. Special teams had really good goods. I don't know if that makes sense. And then really low lows. A lot of penalties from the special team side of the ball, which you just don't want to see. That's just bad. There was 4 or 5 special team penalties. Jake Bailey looked great. You love to see that. The punter looked good. Jason Sanders missed a field goal, which you don't like to see that. It was a longer one, but nonetheless, still don't want to see it. Yeah, that's about it. Braxton had a few good returns, so that's that on the special teams front. But still, a little sloppy on special teams. And then in terms of defense, I honestly think the defense played very good. Aside from the coverage bust, which was Javon Holland's fault, biting on a dig route, and then DK took it over the top. Aside from that huge bomb play, I think they played very well, especially when you consider the circumstances that the offense put them in. I think they did a good job overall. They got after the passer. They were stopping the run pretty consistently. Although I will say part of what made the defense probably look better than it did was the Seahawks shot themselves in the foot a lot, whether they had similar to the Dolphins, holding penalties, false starts, things of that nature. So that obviously helped cover up some of the holes. But I think Zach Sealer had a very good game. Calais Campbell had a very good game. So those are things you like to see. I think Jalen Ramsey played very well as well. So the only positive is if the defense can come back by the time Tua is ready, that'll at least be good. At least we're not the Raiders, who are ultimately pretty healthy and losing to the Panthers. So that's a positive. Yeah, that's about it. Doesn't look good. I think our only chance, obviously, now is a wild card spot. But yeah, it's just very negative. Armstead went down with an injury. Austin Jackson went down with an injury. David Long went down with an injury. Yeah, so a lot of injuries, a lot of sloppy play. Doesn't look like it's getting any better. So yeah, not fun to be a Dolphins fan. We got a mid Titans team on Monday Night Football. So what a fun game for the NFL in prime time, having backup quarterbacks play head to head. So that's what's to look forward to. Comment your thoughts down below. Appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time, fins up.